Hey, it's Joe. Yeah, I got another one here. This is from David Carmichael. David says, I've been thinking about purchasing your Automarketer. I had questions, but no one to ask. So I'm grateful for your opening to ask questions. How has the Automarketer been affected with the new change to Craigslist not being able to scrape phone numbers unless you manually hit the contact button? With the Automarketer, can you use it in multiple states or restricted to one state? If restricted, why? Joe, thank you for your time and your response. The first question here is about the changes that Craigslist came up with. They decided to hide the phone number on each ad behind a button, so you had to click an extra button in order to get that data. We solved that problem pretty much the same week that it happened. I've talked about some of the changes that Craigslist creates that we have to deal with. And Craigslist isn't the only site that we use, but Craigslist is one of the primary sites that we use to gather data, and it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful site. It's got lots of traffic. We really like it. So as soon as they make changes, we make changes to solve that problem. I've got a really smart coder who handles this stuff for me. I wish that I could write code like he does, but he's a wizard. He's also a PhD, so he knows what he's doing. With the Automarketer, can you use it in multiple states, or are you restricted to one state? You can use it in up to 5 different Craigslist areas, 5 different categories. So if you could use it in Los Angeles, you could use it in Indianapolis, you could use it in Minneapolis. You could pick 5 different areas to use it in, 5 different general areas to use it in. And if you wanted to expand beyond that, you'd have to get an additional Automarketer. Now, if you're going to work in more than one area, most of the advanced students that I have that work in multiple states, they own multiple Automarketers. We've got one guy that has 10, we've got another guy that has 8, another one that has 4, another one has 6, and as we go along, we're getting more and more people using multiple Automarketers because they want to have the infrastructure in that particular area. So if they're going to work in, let's say, Indiana, and they're going to work in Minnesota, so they work the 2 different areas. They want to have websites that are set up with those names on them. They want to have, if they're working in Minneapolis, you want to say Minneapolis, Minnesota, not Indianapolis, Indiana. So you'd want to have it in more than one area. Now you might want to test more than one area. If you're just getting started, or if you're deciding to expand, you say, okay, well, let's try another area. We won't set up a separate Automarketer for that area yet. You can do it with up to 5 different areas. Ultimately, if you want to send out enough emails to be able to be productive, you're going to want to have multiple Automarketers. And if you're making money in each of those, just doing one deal, paying $200 a month for an Automarketer in that particular state is not a big expenditure if you're making $5,000 on a deal every month, or every a year for that matter. It's still a pretty good deal. So it does make sense to have multiple Automarketers if you're going to do that. And no, you aren't restricted to just one area, but you are restricted to a certain number of areas. And the reason we do that is because every time we add another city to the scraper, it adds a load to our system and it slows down the scraper. So we want to make sure that we have sufficient resources, and we can speed up the scraper by paying more money for the infrastructure that we have. Me personally, paying more money for the infrastructure that we have. So we continue to build our infrastructure, our back end, so that it can handle more speed on the scraper. And there's a lot of technical jargon that I could explain that would make that probably would make sense to very little of you, very few of you, but just suffice it to know that we try to keep the load down on the system so that it can serve everybody properly, and the likelihood that you'll need more than 4 or 5 at any particular time is very small anyway. And when you get to the point that it does make sense, then just get another Automarketer and do it that way. Okay, hope that helps.